Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Football Palestine Extra. In this episode, we are going to talk about three main things this week. First off, we have friendly dates confirmed for October. Palestine is heading to Annaba in Algeria again for a doubleheader. This time, not against the under 23 Algerian team, but against the Prim. That's the local side of Algeria, led by Majid Bouguera, former legendary captain of the Algerian national team. So we'll talk about that October window. We'll also talk about this remarkable time we're living in, where Oday Dabbagh and Wessam Oday just trade goals back and forth, like prime Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. Really fantastic time to be alive to see it. Both strikers have 3 goals in their last 3 games. And finally, we'll wrap up talking a little bit about transfer news, about the players that were based in Libya now getting moves, some renewing, some moving on, and then just wrap it up with any sort of tidbits that are out there that we didn't manage to cover in the main segments. Listen, first and foremost, thanks to everyone who subscribes, free or paid. If you're somehow watching this and you haven't subscribed, click subscribe. I find it really hard to believe that we have an outlet dedicated to the national team of Palestinian football, and we have still not quite 1,000 subscribers. If you can upgrade to a paid subscription, it would really help. It helps me do the research to put together these types of videos, and also helps with my writing, my journalism, and all sorts of things. This stuff isn't free. I try and make it free for the most part, and then leave this type of video mostly free. So if you're a free subscriber, I think you'll see about 10 to 15 minutes of this video, which, by the way, is available in audio format on Spotify, if you prefer to kind of consume this content that way. Otherwise, the rest of it, and really some interesting tidbits, some stuff that I really can't report per se publicly because I only have one source, that all goes behind the paywall. And we sort of have a discussion here and there about stuff I've been hearing. So if you aren't a paid subscriber or you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you can become a paid subscriber, it would really help me. So let's start off with the main topic of the day, which is Algeria, Palestine on October 9th and October 13th. Is this a good opponent to have? Yeah, I think so. Look, if anything, it provides a really good platform for experimentation. You're talking about 2 matches. I'm not sure if they'll have any sort of official FIFA status. I'm not sure how that works because the main team is playing World Cup qualifying in Africa. They have games against Somalia and Uganda, and they're looking just to get a couple of points there and wrap up their 5th World Cup qualification. I still think the local Algerian side is a good team. There will be stiffer opposition than the under-23 teams that we faced in the past. More veteran. You do have guys that are in their late 20s, early 30s in the team. And it's completely possible that because they're preparing for the Arab Cup, Majid Bouguera doesn't keep it a local team, meaning that if there's some guy on the bubble that doesn't really make the first team squad, and let's face it, if you look at Algeria's first team, it's basically guys that play in Europe, and then a smattering of names like Riyad Mahrez, who plays in Saudi Arabia now. But outside of that, you do have some French guys that aren't getting called up to the national team anymore. Maybe they've aged out a little bit, but maybe they can help Algeria defend their Arab Cup title. So it's quite possible that we could see them play against Palestine. Whether or not we see those names or not, it doesn't really matter, because I think even if it's a local team, even if it's the team that participated in the Chan in August, the Chan, by the way, is the African continental competition just for local players. Very interesting concept for a tournament. Algeria did quite well in that they never lost the game. They had 1 win and 3 draws in the group stage, and then they drew against Sudan and lost on penalty kicks. So good team. Bouguera has a really good record with Algeria's Prim side, and they are the defending Arab Cup champions. So you couldn't ask for better preparation. You've got 2 games in the window, which is something that we criticized last window, that Abou Ali only had 1 game, and he said, "Oh, it's because I can't really prepare. There's not enough time for." Yeah, they didn't look very prepared in the game against Malaysia, even though, they didn't have anything to do in that first part of the window. From what I've been hearing, they're going to cast the broad net. They're going to call up a lot of players. They're going to test some things out, which is what we want to see, because the other criticism that we had, aside from the overall performance against Malaysia, was we didn't learn anything new because we didn't see any new players or any fringe players really play any meaningful minutes. That should change against Algeria's local side. And you've got 2 games. So you literally can, just hand out minutes to players, and meaningful minutes. One of the things that I thought was very frustrating was, you had Omar Faraj. He's not playing. He's on the outs in Zamalek looking for a club. But you called him up. So you should have probably given him more than 10 minutes, right? We don't want to see things like that. If new names are called in, we want to see them play, right? We don't want to see, the last 10 minutes we give just a courtesy here and there, which is what they did against Malaysia. Omar Faraj came in the 81st minute. A couple of minutes later, they gave Hamza Hussein a run out. They gave Felipe Nasri a run out. That doesn't help, right? You don't learn anything, because if you're going to go and play a friendly and not win, then at least learn, right? And we learned very, very little when it came to the national team earlier this month. Hopefully we can learn a little bit more. Hopefully we can solve some problems. And hopefully, they can also not make the same mistakes, such as playing Adam Kahed as a number 10. We will see about that. So I'm looking forward to this doubleheader. I think it's going to be useful. And then hopefully before that game against Basque Country on November 15th, the national team can somehow find a way to get a friendly before that. They're going to be in Europe. It's going to be tough to find European opposition. They're playing their own World Cup qualification. You can only really go after teams that are in groups of 5, I believe, because then there's always one team that kind of has a bye. Interestingly enough, not that I think it's going to happen, but interestingly enough, Spain only has 1 game in the November window. So maybe you can play a game against Spain, which would be incredible, but also very daunting, because that is practically the best team in the world. But it could happen. They could theoretically play against Spain, let's say on November 10th or November 11th, and then 4 or 5 days later play in Bilbao against Basque Country. It doesn't need to be them. It could be another side, maybe another African side, that if they want to come and play in Spain. We'll see what the PFA has up its sleeves. It's always, there's always cost constraints. So I don't imagine that there will be traveling to another country before traveling to Spain, unless somebody wants to foot the costs. But yeah, it's possible. And I think it should happen, because this team needs to get prepared, and they need to know as much as they can about the tools they have at their disposal in order to beat Libya, to play at the Arab Cup finals. And I said last week, I think it would be absolutely heartbreaking if, somehow this team, after all this momentum, loses against Libya, doesn't play in an Arab Cup. It just would really end the year on a sour note. And I think, rescued our World Cup campaign, even though we did end up short. I thought we rescued it, that we will now look back at this campaign with positive memories, with what we did to come back against Iraq, with the win against Kuwait, even with how we played in games that didn't end up in wins, that ended up in draws, narrow losses. We can look back with pride, because we did actually play well under difficult circumstances. So, 2 games in October, at least a game in November, and then Libya. Hopefully this will be a platform to kind of correct all the mistakes that happened in September. The national team staff, Abou Ali, they came out and they said, we hate September for the same old reasons. Hopefully that we can kind of file it into the September blues that Palestine usually has. Okay, moving on to really what is top of mind for me, which is usually I wake up, I'm based in Europe, so usually I wake up and I see Wessam Abou Ali has scored. And then a couple of days later, Oday Dabbagh will play, and then he scores. And then Wessam will have a game. Maybe the next day, I go to sleep, I wake up, Wessam scored. And that's happened 3 times now. Absolutely incredible. Both are settling in. It took, I think, both players a while, and let's face it, it was difficult for both. Wessam Oday had an extended season because he played at the Club World Cup. He needed to rest his body. He needed to make sure that the transfer went through. He needed to get the visa, all that stuff. So they brought him along slowly. But he's scored goals in 3 consecutive games. And they're goals that are going to end up being crucial for Columbus, because what Columbus is trying to do right now is qualify for the playoffs. And in North America, specifically in MLS, the champion of the league is the one that wins the playoffs, not the one that finishes with the best record. Unfortunately for Columbus, they were kind of in the race for this trophy they call the Supporters Shield, which is given to the team with the best record across 34 games. That's currently Philadelphia, which is 10 points ahead of Columbus. Mathematically, I believe there's only 3 games left, so they cannot catch them. But right now they're in 8th place, which means they would have to play a play-in game to get to the playoffs, and then they would always have no home field advantage. But they are 3 points off of 4th place. If they finish 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, they would have home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Basically, what that means is the playoffs are a best of 3 series. So you would host game 1 and game 3 if necessary, right? If you win the 2 games, then not necessary to play a 3rd game. So his goals are going to be important to get Columbus over the hump. It does seem that they are in a bit of a funk, right? They had a problem finishing. Wissam has helped them with that. Now they're having some problems seeing games out. Even in one of the more incredible games of the MLS season, they were up 5-0 against Atlanta. Wissam scored in that game, and then they only ended up winning 5-4. Wissam's going to score goals in this league. I wouldn't be surprised if in these next 3 games he added at least another 2. We all know what Wissam does. And with the benefit of a full offseason, he's going to attack it next season with just a lot of hunger, and he's going to have a lot of success, because MLS is